Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Mark Horton, Managing Director and founder of Radical Cloud Solutions. And we are hosting this webinar today to help shed some light on the key features, AI tools, and functions offered by Google Education.
So let me hand over to my brilliant colleague, Simon Fasolo. He's going to talk us through just a couple of those features that we have available for you today. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Lance. And hi, everybody. It's not every day that you get introduced twice as a brilliant colleague, so I appreciate that, Lance. And let me just say thanks to Radical Cloud Solutions. Thank you to DigiCloud. Mark, great to hear from you. Jan, thanks for sharing your school story with Google as well. Really interesting. And Ryan, great demo. So appreciate that. Lance, as always, really useful. So thanks for setting the scene here. I'm just going to have a quick chat about how the adaptive learning actually corresponds to some of the features we're pushing out, right? And one of them we have talked about already, Originality reports. But I want to start with practice sets. It's one of the ways we're really championing adaptive learning and really pushing forward the vision we have for Google for Education as well, which is taking technology and just better using it in the classroom. It's simple as that. In a nutshell, what this feature about is helping transform new and existing teaching content. So if you're a teacher on the call, think about those worksheets you create. Maybe they're PDFs, maybe you've pulled together a few different sets of questions. And really what practice sets helps you do is turn them into engaging and interactive assignments. So bring them to life with AI. And how it helps you, the educators, gives you valuable insights into students' work. I'll explain that in a second. And how it helps students is it helps guide their work. So let me take you through some actions to explain it. There's a great video for this too, by the way, that maybe we can send afterwards as a follow-up. But in action, you as a teacher would upload an existing PDF or create a worksheet from scratch within Classroom. Then you, the educator, receive snapshots of student progress as they're working through those questions, and you gain real-time student insights. So that's what you get, which is really useful, right? Not to mention the auto grading capability. So everything in one place in Classroom, making life really easy. And what do the students get out of this, working on these worksheets? Well, they get automated hints. So on the side of the page or the side of the worksheet, for example, if they're stuck on a problem, they can select a concept card. Maybe they're stuck on, maybe they need to understand the Pythagoras theory. I know I probably would need that help myself, right? Or maybe it's a little YouTube clip that will really help explain a concept. So really useful within Classroom, helping these students guide them through, because you as a teacher just don't have time. And I want to tell you a quick story about this actually to bring it home. I'll tell you about how it's extremely useful in real life. If we get back into the Wayback Time machine and go back to 1995, I think I was 14, and I was in a maths class, and I really struggled in this maths class because it was the first time that the maths teacher had introduced letters with numbers, algebra, which didn't make sense to me at all. And I sat there in this class and I really struggled. I was a shy kid, and I didn't want to put my hand up and ask too many questions because I felt embarrassed, and I was at that point in life growing up. And I sat there and I just struggled, and I hit a brick wall. Imagine if I had practice sets. I would be able to just quietly have a look at some hints, have a look at some suggestions, maybe have something explain the concept to me until I really understood it. I'd be able to show my working on that sheet. So later on, my teacher could actually understand where I was going wrong or where I was struggling. I'll tell you how it ended up for me. The teacher would come by and say, how are you going here? And I would say, oh, I'm okay. And I wouldn't really know. I wouldn't know how to explain where I was going wrong. And that was the end of it. They'd scratch their head and walk away and say, Simon's probably not very good at maths. But the reality was I just wasn't getting the support because the teacher just didn't have time. It's 35 kids in that class. So you can see how powerful practice sets is using technology in the classroom. Moving on to the next slide, let's talk about another way we're using AI. So we have already talked about Originality reports. And Ryan gave us a great demo of how it actually lands in the classroom and how you actually go about using it. I just want to talk to it really quickly. We know that anti-plagiarism software is really important for our customers. We know that. It makes life easy, right? But you might not know everything about Originality reports, so you might have heard a little bit about it, not sure how it works. So nice thing is that the students also gain access to running their own reports. And really what that means is using technology to help take something that was more punitive. You imagine, like, when we used to check students' work, it was always a rap on the knuckles. Oh, you've copied something, or you've plagiarized. What's great about this technology and putting it in the hands of the students is it's more like a positive way to learn, right? It's a learning moment, because maybe you did take some information and didn't cite it correctly. Maybe you just missed that. So you get the opportunity as a student to actually kind of run the report and correct yourself before it gets to the teacher, which I think is pretty great. But additionally, you can also create a repository as an educator. So if you do want to detect peer-to-peer plagiarism, copying, it has that functionality as well. And of course, like, how does this factor into adaptive learning and AI? Well, it's when we're scanning for plagiarism, it's scanning across, I think it's something like 40 million books and billions of pages. Obviously, something that Google's pretty good at. So it's really, really powerful technology in the hands of educators and students, which is quite cool. And moving on to the next slide, I just wanted to quickly talk about the Screencast app. So you may have heard of this. It's released for Chrome. And what it allows you to do is record, trim, share, and view transcribed screencasts. So educators and students can create a custom library of recorded educational content automatically saved in Google Drive. Really, really useful. So how does it help? In a couple of ways. It helps enhance instruction. So you can easily create these engaging recorded lessons and reports and trim them and draw pictures or handwritten notes on them as you record using a touchscreen or stylus as well. So really, really, you can get into it and really kind of tailor it. It helps in terms of accessing recordings in one place. So, you know, Jan was talking about before about Drive and just how useful Drive is just like one place, right? To kind of put everything and coordinate, you know, with shared files and the like. And you can, same thing, right, with these. So you open up the Chromebook, get started with Screencast, recordings are uploaded in real time to Google Drive for ease of sharing. So really nice and simple. And finally, I think this is a really important point, it creates more inclusive learning. So real-time speech-to-text transcriptions built in and access to recorded educational content from home to help foster the participation and exclusivity as well. Right? So inclusivity. So, you know, in short, again, when all your students, again, really useful for students, have an idea to share, you can simply screencast it. And we've heard these use cases from students that go home and create something on Screencast and share it with their teacher and say, oh, look, I've got this idea. It's a great way of communicating ideas. So really, really positive in the classroom. Thanks. Moving on to the next. Just a quick note that we have so many other adaptive learning tools, and Lance touched on this briefly. We don't have time to dig into them all, but just quickly mention Read Along, you may have heard of, which is a fun speech-based app for Android to help students independently learn and build reading skills. Reading skills. So really, really useful technology. Google Lens, I'm not sure if we dug into that, but wonder if anyone has used Google Lens. That's also an example of how we're using AI in technology. I just want to quickly wrap up with a couple of final slides. So the next slide is really just to give you an understanding of the Google Workspace for Education editions. If you weren't aware of them all, there are 4 editions actually. There's one edition that is offered at no charge to all of our customers because we truly believe in access to great technology tools in learning for everyone. And that's Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals you see on the left-hand side of the screen. It's a powerful free suite of tools, enables collaborative learning, you name it, docs, sheets, slides, Gmail, calendar forms, classroom sites. You'd be familiar with the platform, and it's all in fundamentals. But then we have paid editions that offer more premium functionality to meet the needs, right, and the growing needs of our customers. And they take the form of Education Standard, which you can see there, and that's really focusing on the advanced security controls and analytics. So everything that maybe the IT admin is handling in the background. Then we have the teaching and learning edition, which basically just gives you premium teaching and learning functionality. So everything that's going to be used by teachers and students. And finally, we have Education Plus, and that really is our comprehensive solution, bringing everything together. So everything in all the editions and more to help take teaching and learning to the next level. The last thing I'll leave you with is just, if you are interested in any of these editions, you can actually get a free trial. Reach out to Radical Cloud Solutions. They'll be able to help you out with a free trial and maybe a pilot walking through the editions as well to explore the functionality, because there's really no better way to understand a product than to get your hands dirty and really kind of get across it and see how it's going to be useful for you. Great, thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all this morning.